Hi there, I'm Sam Gordon, and I guess we all face the same problem. We come home, we'd like to sit down for a while, relax, and see what's on the old TV. Well, a lot of times we get things like this. Movies, see what else is on here. Oh, she's crying. Sports, of course, that's on almost every single weekend, and sports channels every single day.
It adds to the relationship.
Talk shows, boring. Commercials are everywhere. Monsters, that's not bad. Turn for the better. More talk shows. Oh, more sports commercials. That's amazing, the things you can find on TV. Let's see what else is on here. Hi, I'm Sam Gordon, and welcome to the App. One of my favorite programs out in the box. Actually, we shot this particular program just about a year ago. The program was entitled Abandoned. It was just about this time of year that we went out to shoot for Venango Video. Well, this was a program that we received so much comment on that just like the great producers in Hollywood, I decided to do Abandoned Part Number 2. What we're going to do is go back to some of the sites that we did have the opportunity to video back 1 year ago and see what has happened to them. Are they still abandoned? Or is there some change in the wind? Who knows? Maybe I'll even market this just like E.T. on a video cassette. Make millions that way. Well, join me now as we go back and take a look at Abandoned Part 2 on today's Out and About. This is where the whole program started out just last year. An abandoned plant, the old J&L 2 plant, and later the Van Huffel plant. Well now, 1 year after the original shots, we see activity. Signs of hope. Signs that rejuvenation definitely are taking place. Local work crews from in and around the Oil City area have been hired to clean up the entire premises. Another contractor has been awarded the job for the roof, rebuilding J&L and Van Huffel into a vibrant new plant. A plant that one day may employ perhaps several hundred people working, making money, putting money back into the economy of Venango County. Yes, what once was abandonment has now turned into refurbishment, and that's a good sign. Remember the abandoned car we photographed last year? Well, it was photographed right here at the old Van Huffel tube plant. It's gone now, too. As a matter of fact, I think the law authorities got wind of that show within a couple of days. That car was removed. Last year, we also photographed these weed-shrouded doors. Well, now, most of the weeds have been cut. Paint is being scraped off. And once again, hope for the area brightens our life. You might remember this building from last year's program. At one time, it housed the Pedelec administration offices, warehousing, service and maintenance department for Venango County. Well, they've moved to a new location. The building is still abandoned, but it has been cleaned up, made to look a little more presentable. The reason? The street is the all-new Corvette Inn. Now, last year when we did our first abandoned program, this simply was an abandoned building. No one really knew the future of it. Well, now, it has a bright new future. The future of an inn. Also new, and right by the Corvette Inn, and across the street, and another abandoned building from last year's show, is the new Gracie Auto Body. Also recently opened up in late summer of 1988. Gracie brings some 25 years of experience into the auto body field, right into a centralized location in Oil City. Last year, it was abandoned. This year, it's a progressive shop. Gracie Auto Body. There's no doubt you probably remember this structure from the original abandoned program. It's the old schoolhouse located on Route 8 just north of Titusville, right before the entrance to the Oil Creek and Titusville Railroad. For years it has been standing here, padlocked, boarded up. Even though the building itself is unoccupied, the grounds around the structure are manicured. The shrubs and the trees seem to be well taken care of. Maybe it's not that much of a case of abandonment as it could be a silent shrine, a shrine towards education of the past. From the education of the mind to the education of the spirit. This was another building that we caught abandoned during our original shooting back in 1987. Well, 1 year later, 1988, this church still remains in the same condition, abandoned. Constructed in 1921, this United Brethren Church on Route 8 in Caneville has been in this state of abandonment ever since the 1960s. But something has changed since we were here 1 year ago. Somewhere must still own this property. Perhaps it's a congregation. Because noticed on the side of the church this year were some newly delivered articles of repairment. Maybe next year when we come back to do Abandonment Part 3, We'll listen to some singing here. Only time will tell. You probably remember our visits last year on abandoned park number 1 to the recycling center. We had a very good tour inside to see what they do. Well, today we're happy to say that because of the abandoned garbage and trash and everything else along the roadway, people do go around collecting it, and they bring it right here to the Multi-Services Recycling Center. That's in Oil City. That's still going strong. And I guess in one way of speaking, what some people abandoned, picked up here, recycled, and put to good use. We'll take a look at another establishment that we visited last year that's still in progress, still doing strong on today's Out and About. Here's another place we had the opportunity to stop in last year, and we had the interview with Lana. This is the Helping Hand thrift store located on the south side of Oil City on State Street. And again, this is what you might say a recycling center. Because it's here, they take a lot of the merchandise that would otherwise land up in a junkyard, clean it up, fix it up, wash it up, and then it's resold at a very, very low price. You might say it's a modern recycling center for usable goods that are not crushed, not thrown away, but still can be worn and used in the house. So, someplace else that we visited 1 year ago on our original abandonment program on the Out and About show, still here, still doing strong. Something else we looked at last year on our Abandonment Part 1 program for Venango Video was the abandonment of so many rail lines throughout the entire area. It is a known fact that through the course of time, rail industry, as far as our part of the country, has been diminished. Trucking has taken over a great deal of the business opportunities that the rail industry once did have. However, there is another side to the coin, or if you would like to term it, another side to the ticket. Not all the rail lines throughout Venango County are abandoned. No, of course we have the Conrail system working in the area, quite evident through the number of tank cars we see. But perhaps the most promising sign of reactivating the railroads to a different extent would have to be this. The OC&T running today and running strong. And of course in Petroleum Center, a brand new station constructed to be a reminiscent building of the way things might have looked years ago. Yes, the OC&T brings new hope for the rail future of Venango County in a totally new way. The OC&T Railroad is probably the best example that we have in the entire area of taking abandonment and turning it into refurbishment. The Perry Street Station in Titusville takes the best of the old, combines it with a touch of the new, and when you put it together, it really comes out fun for me and you. Even someday, these abandoned old cabooses that were acquired by the OC&T will be turned into gleaming, bright, shining railroad pieces. Abandonment? You won't find too many signs of it here. The OC&T has brought a change to the way we think, change to the way we act about railroad operations in our area. Remember this from last year's program? This sign is a very, very tough warning. A $300 fine for littering. The sign is posted throughout Venango County, as well as many, many other parts of Pennsylvania. This particular sign that appeared in last year's program is right by a dirt road. A dirt road that is north of Oil City in the Clap Farm Union Street area. Let's see, since last year, how many people actually did heed this warning about litter bugging as we take a look at abandonment, part 2, on today's Out and About. Well, this is one thing that definitely hasn't changed since last year's program. If anything, to me, it seems to have grown worse. The amount of debris, junk, trash, litter, garbage that has been deposited here since we shot the original abandonment program seems to have increased. Why are people so blatantly ignorant of the law? Why do they want to litter up the beautiful countryside and just throw things, abandon them? There are places for trash of this nature, but not alongside the road. Roadsides are not the place to deposit trash. As a matter of fact, throughout Venango County, there are several established businesses that will accept junk, if you will, leftovers, otherwise items that would be abandoned almost anywhere. And you can even make some money doing so. That's the proper way to see that what you discard, no longer need, will not just be abandoned and littering the highway. Now you may turn your trash into cash. Now, remember this from the last program on abandonment? This is almost the same shot that we put on tape 1 year ago. It's the abandoned cemetery. We won't reveal the location of this cemetery. The weed-shrouded graves still do exist. But something, again, even here, has changed. Yes, something indeed has changed at even this abandoned cemetery. You'll notice that one whole section behind me has been cleared out. Did somebody last year see the program and act on it? I don't know. The most recent tombstone I can find here bears the date of 1956 on it. That was quite some time ago. But yet, even in that year, since we last did Abandonment Part 1, something has changed here. Even our final resting place gets a bright new look. You know, outside of abandoned graveyards, there are other places that we did not include last year on the show that we decided to bring in on Abandonment Part 2. Would you believe a miniature golf course could even be abandoned? I'm not too sure what par would be on hole number 3 out here, but you definitely would be playing it in the rough. As the case is with almost any miniature golf course you play anywhere, the last hole is usually the most challenging and sometimes the most rewarding. Old golf clubs can still be found in this abandoned miniature golf course. You can even find an old radio stopped at 1:25 in the afternoon. An AM radio. By the way, it was set to 1340. What really surprises me most about this abandoned miniature golf course is not the fact that it was abandoned, but the fact that it's not reopened. For this abandoned miniature golf course is actually located in one of the most thriving areas that we have in Venango County. In case you haven't noticed it, this golf course is right on Route 322, right next to the Cranberry Mall. A lot of people do say that Venango County is going down, that perhaps we are all abandoned in some aspect. I say you just may not be looking in the right direction. We'll take a look at some parting shots. Downtown Franklin would have to be a prime example of what once was abandonment, could have been total abandonment, but instead was turned into thriving businesses and establishments. The Depot Restaurant, really a monument to entrepreneurism in our own Venango County. Right by the Depot Restaurant is the Franklin Station Square, another building that was abandoned, could have been left to time and the elements to take their wear, but has been converted and houses many different activities, including the Venango Center for Creative Development. And in that same area, in another building reminiscent of the railroad era, is Meadowlark Farm and City Supply. In fact, you might say that all of Franklin may be a monument, a tribute to non-abandonment. Non-abandonment of business ideals, an economic bright future, and beauty itself in this Victorian-look city. We really have to be realistic about this whole program and about Venango County. You're going to have your pockets of prosperity, your bright ideas, and you'll also have your blight. That's true in any county, anywhere in the United States. There will be abandonment. And some of the areas and scenes we photographed last year won't just disappear in 365 days. After all, they've been abandoned a lot longer than that. Well, that's about going to do it for the Out and About program called Abandonment Part Number 2. But there is one more section I'd like to put in before we say goodnight for today. Remember last year, I ended the show with 2 little kittens that we found abandoned while we were actually filming. This is one of those kittens that we have today. That cat is here because of our care. Now, we did originally have 2 kittens that we found, but one of them since died. That's another tragic story of how people will just abandon their animals. This cat here, alive and well. So after 1 year, she makes it back for abandonment number 2. Till the next time we have a chance to come back into your home with another Out and About. This is Sam Gordon saying have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. See you again on Out and About.